As you get older, no matter how painful it is, you must break ties with these 7 people. This is simply because at that point of your life, it's about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and self-respect over obligation. The reality is, you may have looked at certain people in your life and wondered, why do I still keep them around? Maybe it's out of obligation, fear of confrontation, or the guilt of letting go. But as you grow older, one harsh truth becomes clear. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Some people take more than they give. Some drain your energy, undermine your worth, or hold you back from becoming the person you're meant to be. And the hardest part, letting them go isn't easy. It feels uncomfortable. It feels wrong. But deep down, you know it's necessary. In today's video, we're uncovering 7 types of people you must cut out of your life, no matter how hard it is. These people steal your peace, disrupt your growth, and keep you stuck in a cycle of frustration. By the final point, you'll not only understand who you need to walk away from, but also how to do it without guilt. So, stay until the end, because your happiness, your future, and your peace depend on the choices you make today. Now, let's get started. Number 1, the one who only calls when they need something. There's a moment in life when you realize some people don't truly value you. They use you. Think about it. You're going about your day when suddenly your phone buzzes. It's a message from someone you haven't heard from in months. At first, there's a flicker of excitement. Maybe they miss me. Maybe they're reaching out just to check in. But then you open the message and your heart sinks. Hey, how have you been? Listen, I need a huge favor. And just like that, you know exactly where this is going. This isn't the first time, it's a pattern. They come to you when they need something, money, advice, a connection. But when you need support, they're nowhere to be found. Your texts get ignored. Your calls go unanswered. Your struggles, they don't seem to matter. At first, you brush it off. Maybe they're just busy. But the more it happens, the more you start to see the truth. They only reach out when it benefits them. You try to convince yourself it's okay. After all, helping people is a good thing, right? But there's a difference between being kind and being used. A healthy relationship, whether it's friendship or family, should feel like a two-way street, not a never-ending one-way transaction where you're always giving and never receiving. Keeping people like this in your life is a silent betrayal of your own self-worth. You deserve relationships that are built on mutual care, not convenience. You deserve to be around people who check in just because they care, not just when they need something. So ask yourself, if you had nothing to offer, would they still be around? If the answer is no, then it's time to let them go. Because real friendships, real relationships aren't built on favors. They're built on presence. The people who truly care about you will show up for you, not just when it's easy, not just when they need something, but when it actually matters. And those are the people worth keeping in your life. Number 2, the one who brings drama and negativity into your life. Have you ever had a friend or family member who, no matter what, always had something to complain about? No matter how good life is, they find a way to twist it into something miserable. Maybe at first you listened, you sympathized, you even tried to help. But over time, their negativity started to feel like a storm cloud hanging over your life. Imagine this. You wake up feeling great, excited about your day. Then your phone rings. It's them. Within minutes, the energy in your body shifts. They're ranting again, complaining about work, about their partner, about life. Nothing is ever good enough. You try to offer advice, but they don't want solutions. They want an audience. And before you know it, your good mood, gone. People like this don't just carry negativity. They spread it. They thrive on gossip, arguments, and creating unnecessary drama. And the worst part? If you spend enough time around them, their energy starts to affect you. You start feeling exhausted after talking to them. You catch yourself becoming more cynical, more drained. You find yourself hesitating before picking up their calls. That's because negativity is contagious. And if you're not careful, you'll start absorbing it too. You might feel guilty for distancing yourself. After all, they might say, "I just need someone to talk to," or "You're one of the few people who really understand me." But here's the truth. You are not responsible for carrying someone else's emotional baggage. A healthy relationship should uplift you, not drain you. You deserve to be around people who bring you joy, not endless complaints. So if someone's constant negativity is polluting your peace, it's time to step away. Because at the end of the day, life is too short to spend it around people who make everything feel heavy. Protect your energy. You owe it to yourself. 3. The one who never respects your boundaries. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about protecting your peace, energy, and well-being. But some people, they don't care. No matter how clearly you set limits, they ignore them, making you feel like your time, emotions, and personal space don't matter. They guilt trip you when you say no. They expect you to be available whenever they need you. They cross the line repeatedly, even after you've spoken up. You often feel pressured, drained, or resentful after dealing with them. At first, you might think, maybe I just need to explain myself better. But the truth is, they understand your boundaries. They just don't respect them. Imagine this. You've had a long week, and you finally have a quiet evening to yourself. You make a cup of tea, settle into your couch, and take a deep breath. Then your phone rings. It's them. You hesitate before answering because you already know how this will go. They need something. They'll talk for hours about their problems, ignoring your exhaustion. If you don't pick up, they'll text you, "Wow, I guess you're too busy for me now." Suddenly, your peaceful night is ruined, not because of what they asked, but because of the emotional burden they bring every time. This is what happens when someone refuses to respect your boundaries. They take and take until you have nothing left. You deserve relationships that honor your needs, not just theirs. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and the people who genuinely care about you will respect them, even if it's inconvenient for them. So, if someone in your life constantly oversteps, ignores your limits, and makes you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself, it's time to step back. Because at the end of the day, your peace is not up for negotiation. 4. The one who constantly undermines you. Nothing feels more disheartening than sharing something you're proud of, only to have it downplayed, mocked, or dismissed by someone you thought was on your side. At first, it might seem subtle. A sarcastic remark here, an eye roll there. But over time, it becomes clear. They don't support you. They belittle you. Let me tell you the story of Mark and his so-called friend. Mark had always dreamed of starting his own business. For years, he worked a regular job, but late at night, he would stay up studying, planning, and preparing to take the leap. One day, he finally did it. He quit his job and launched his company. Excited, he told his closest friends. Most of them cheered him on, but one friend, Jake, simply smirked and said, "Good luck with that. Hope you enjoy being broke." Mark laughed it off, but the comments kept coming. "Are you sure you're ready for this? You're not exactly business savvy. Man, why not just get a real job instead of wasting time? You know most startups fail, right? Don't come crying when it doesn't work out." At first, Mark tried to ignore it. Maybe Jake was just being realistic. Maybe he was trying to help. But over time, Mark realized something painful. Jake wasn't looking out for him. He was rooting for his failure. And that's when it hit him. Every time Mark had something positive in his life, Jake found a way to tear it down. They make sarcastic or backhanded comments about your dreams. They dismiss your achievements as luck or not a big deal. They don't celebrate your wins. They act indifferent or even annoyed. When you express excitement, they respond with doubt, criticism, or negativity. It's not always obvious. Sometimes they disguise their words as honest advice or just looking out for you. But the truth is, they feel threatened by your growth, so they try to keep you small. No matter how much history you have with someone, no matter how long they've been in your life, if they constantly undermine, discourage, or belittle you, they are not your friend. Real friends support your growth. They lift you up. They push you forward. And they believe in your potential. If someone is more invested in making you doubt yourself than seeing you succeed, it's time to walk away. Because you deserve people who inspire you, not those who secretly hope you fail. 5. The one who makes you feel like an obligation. There's nothing lonelier than sitting across from someone who makes you feel like they'd rather be anywhere else. You've probably felt it before, that quiet disappointment when you realize someone you care about is only keeping you around out of duty, not desire. Here's the story of Margaret and her grown children. Margaret had spent her entire life taking care of her family. As a mother, she sacrificed her time, energy, and dreams to make sure her children had everything they needed. But now, in her later years, things felt different. Her phone barely rang anymore. Weeks would go by without a visit. Whenever she called, the conversations were short, rushed, and distant. One Sunday afternoon, her son finally came over for lunch. She had prepared his favorite meal, set the table beautifully, and waited eagerly at the door. But when he arrived, she noticed the lack of warmth in his hug, the distracted way he checked his watch, the way his mind seemed elsewhere. Halfway through the meal, he sighed and said, "I've been so busy. Things are just crazy right now. I'll try to come by more often." Margaret nodded, forcing a smile. But deep down, she knew the truth. He wasn't here because he wanted to be. He was here because he felt he had to be. They visit or call out of obligation, not genuine desire. You sense emotional distance. They are physically present, but mentally elsewhere. If you don't reach out first, the relationship feels like it would fade completely. You feel more like a responsibility to check off their list than a loved one to cherish. At first, Margaret tried to excuse it. He's busy. He has his own life now. But then she realized love should never feel like a chore. Growing older teaches you an important lesson. You shouldn't have to beg for love, time, or attention. If someone makes you feel like a burden rather than a blessing, it's okay to let go of expectations and focus on those who truly cherish your presence. Because at this stage in life, your time is precious, and you deserve to spend it with people who genuinely want to be with you, not just those who feel obligated to. 6. The one who triggers anxiety and stress. As you get older, peace becomes one of the most valuable things in your life. But some people, they bring nothing but stress, tension, and unease. Robert had always been close with his younger brother David. Growing up, they had their differences, but family was family. Robert always told himself that no matter what, he would be there for David. But as the years passed, Robert noticed something. Every interaction with David left him feeling drained. Whenever they met, David always had a problem, a crisis, or an emergency. He would call Robert at random hours, dumping all his worries and expecting him to listen endlessly. If Robert offered advice, David brushed it off. If Robert didn't pick up the phone, David would guilt-trip him for not being a good brother. Over time, Robert realized something disturbing. He had started dreading his brother's calls. His heart would race when he saw David's name on his phone. He felt obligated to answer, yet every conversation left him feeling exhausted, anxious, and frustrated. One day, after another long-winded rant from David about his latest life disaster, Robert hung up and sat in silence. He finally admitted the truth to himself. His relationship with his brother was harming his well-being. Being around them makes you feel tense, anxious, or emotionally drained. They always bring stress, conflict, or drama into your life. You feel obligated to tolerate them, even though they never consider your well-being. You notice yourself feeling on edge before seeing or talking to them. At first, Robert felt guilty for pulling away, but then he realized his peace was more important than someone else's expectations. At this stage in life, you have nothing to prove to anyone. Your happiness, your calm, and your well-being are worth protecting. If someone brings more stress than joy, it's time to set boundaries or walk away, because you deserve peace, not anxiety. 7. The one who no longer aligns with your growth. As we go through life, we evolve, our priorities shift, our perspectives change, and we become different people than we were years ago. But not everyone grows with us, and some people, no matter how close they once were, begin to feel like strangers in our lives. James and Tom had been best friends since their teenage years. They used to do everything together, talk for hours, share dreams, and navigate life side by side. But as James grew older, his mindset changed. He became more focused on his health, his happiness, and surrounding himself with positive, meaningful relationships. Tom, on the other hand, stayed the same. He was still caught up in old habits, gossip, negativity, and reckless decisions. Every time they met, James felt like he was being pulled back into a version of himself that no longer existed. One night, after another empty conversation filled with complaints and cynicism, James sat in his car and realized something painful. The connection he once cherished was now holding him back. He wasn't the same person he used to be. And Tom, he had no interest in growing alongside him. Some relationships are meant for a season, not a lifetime. If someone no longer aligns with your values, your growth, or your peace, forcing the connection will only drain you. Letting go isn't about forgetting the past. It's about making space for the future. Because at this stage in life, you deserve relationships that help you move forward, not ones that keep you stuck in the past. As you grow older, one of the greatest lessons you'll learn is this: not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. It's not about resentment. It's not about holding grudges. It's about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and self-respect over obligation. The people you surround yourself with shape your energy, your happiness, and even your future. Keeping the wrong people around out of guilt or nostalgia only drains you. And at this stage in life, your time is far too precious to waste on people who no longer bring value, joy, or peace. Letting go is never easy. It's uncomfortable, it's painful. But do you know what's worse? Holding on to relationships that make you feel small, drained, or unappreciated. So now, I leave you with a question. Which of these 7 people do you need to walk away from? Think about it. Reflect on it. And when the time comes, have the courage to choose yourself. Because the greatest gift you can give yourself in your later years is the freedom to live on your own terms with the right people by your side. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And if you found value in this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your peace is worth protecting.